All right, buckle up, because today we are diving headfirst into the Vaults of Vexxna.
Yeah.
We're talking classic dungeon crawl here.
Absolutely.
And what's really cool is we've got our hands on what seems to be the GM's guide.
Okay.
We're talking monster stats, room descriptions, even intel on rival adventurers.
Wow.
So like someone built a whole world and just handed us the keys.
It is. It is.
Which means we've got to be strategic if we were ever going to survive a place like this.
Absolutely. And what a place it is. Vexxna, the mastermind behind it all, is a lich.
Okay.
And before you go thinking, oh, just another bonehead, this one's different.
Really?
Forget dusty tombs. We're talking alchemical brews and hauntingly advanced tech from the get-go.
Seriously, I was just looking at the alchemical antechamber section, and it's wild. Potions, hidden doors, even rumors of traps that reconfigure the room itself.
Right.
It's giving less evil overlords and more like mad scientists with a penchant for the afterlife, you know?
That's the intriguing part.
Yeah.
It's clear Vexxna blended magic and engineering in ways you rarely see. This hauntingly automated vibe you picked up on, that's no accident.
Right.
The guide mentions magical engineering throughout, almost like Vexxna was as much an inventor as a necromancer, which makes you wonder, what was this place really for?
Okay, so less dungeon and more demented funhouse designed by an undead genius.
Pretty much.
Got it.
Yeah.
So to figure out what Vexxna was up to, we've got to follow the trail of breadcrumbs they left behind.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of it as a treasure map leading to the heart of Vexxna's ambitions. And to give you the edge, we're hitting the highlights.
Okay.
The most dangerous areas, the most tempting treasures, the stuff that'll make you the most legendary adventurer.
Right.
Or at least the most prepared.
I love it. So no time to waste then. Where do we start?
Let's kick things off with Area 4, the distillation hall.
Okay.
Imagine a chamber echoing with the hiss of steam, bubbling potions, that faint magical haze hanging in the air.
Whoa. Just picturing it is giving me anxiety in a good way.
Yeah.
You're saying this place is practically begging for some epic sound design.
Oh, absolutely.
But what about threats?
Right.
You're talking like fire-breathing stills or something?
That's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
The guide doesn't list any default enemies here, but it does mention alchemical hazards, almost daring the GM to get creative. Could be volatile concoctions, maybe some of those potions have unexpected side effects.
Right.
Point is, it's a blank slate designed to make you sweat a little.
Okay, so stay alert, even when there's no obvious monster in sight.
Exactly.
Got it. What's next on our little tour of doom?
Let's head to a place after my own heart. Area 7, the Alchemical Library.
Okay.
Not only are we talking shelves upon shelves of ancient texts,
Right.
but there's mention of a jade statuette hidden somewhere in there.
Ooh, a jade statuette. You know, those can be tricky.
Yeah.
Almost got fooled by a mimic disguised as one once.
Oh, I bet.
But I'm guessing the real danger here is whatever's guarding all those books.
You'd be right.
Okay.
This library is home to Vexxna's spectral sentinels.
Okay.
And get this.
Yep.
They have incorporeal movement, meaning walls are basically suggestions to these guys.
Oh.
Imagine the chills running down your spine, knowing something could be phasing right through the walls towards you.
Okay, that's just creepy.
Right.
But you did say chills.
Yeah.
Anything in this guide that these sentinels are vulnerable to? Asking for a friend who may or may not be about to walk into a haunted library.
Funny you should ask. Turns out they've got a weakness. Sunlight sensitivity.
Okay.
Not exactly convenient in a dungeon, but hey, maybe pack a few extra torches, you know?
Right.
Just in case.
Noted. Always good to have a backup plan, especially when spectral librarians are involved.
Right.
All right, what else we got?
Let's crank up the mystery, shall we? Buckle up, because we're approaching the entrance to the Forge of Enigma.
Okay, that name alone is making me nervous.
Yeah.
And based on the guide, we're talking more than just your average blacksmith's workshop.
Oh, absolutely.
So what is it?
We only have a description of the entrance,
Okay.
and it's giving portal to another dimension vibes.
Melee.
An entropic gateway, if you will, with
That's-
3 archways leading to parts unknown.
Okay.
Sadly, that's all we get for now.
Ugh, cliffhangers. Vexxna clearly knew how to keep things interesting.
For sure.
All right, well, while we're left wondering about the Forge's secrets, we've got more ground to cover, right?
Right you are, and things are about to get strange.
Okay.
Next up, we're warping reality with a trip to the quantum menagerie.
Wait,
Yeah.
are we talking alternate realities here?
Well,
Did Vexxna crack the code on multiversal travel? This is getting a little Rick and Morty, even for me.
hold your horses. The guide doesn't get too bogged down in the science of it all.
Okay.
The emphasis is on the atmosphere, the feeling of instability, the uncertainty of what's real and what's not.
Right.
You definitely want to watch your step in there, that's for sure.
Okay.
But it raises an intriguing question.
Yeah.
What was Vexxna doing with this kind of power?
Right. It's like they stumbled onto something huge and the menagerie is just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Okay. I'm hooked. What's next?
Next, we're trading quantum weirdness for good old-fashioned mechanical mayhem in the Mechanomancer's maze.
Okay.
Picture this. A vast hexagonal room with walls that shift and reconfigure, automated turrets guarding every turn.
Okay, so maybe not so good old-fashioned after all.
Right.
It sounds like a death trap for even the most seasoned adventurer.
It could be.
Any hints on how to navigate this metal labyrinth?
The guide emphasizes sound design here, whirring gears, the hum of arcane energy, that clanging of metal on metal.
Okay.
It's all about creating an atmosphere of relentless mechanical danger.
Right.
But the real kicker is that this maze leads to something even more intriguing. The pulsar portal.
Ooh, pulsar port. That has a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, based on your tone, that this is more than just a quick teleport out of the maze.
You know me too well. We're talking about a chamber guarded by the pulsar warden,
Okay.
a massive construct imbued with pulsar energy.
Okay.
And get this,
Yeah.
there's a hidden door in there too.
Really?
What's behind it?
I don't know what is behind it.
The guide doesn't say, but it hints at alien tech and a story reveal that could reshape the campaign.
All right, pause the deep dive for a second.
Okay.
Imagine you getting ready for your next game session, knowing this is where your players are headed.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about upping the stakes.
Exactly. It's all about building anticipation.
Right.
You've got this intricate, deadly maze, a guardian powered by some unknown energy source, and a secret door that could lead to...
Yeah.
Well, anything.
Right.
Suddenly those dice rolls feel a whole lot heavier.
Okay, I'm definitely getting some major final boss vibes from this pulsar portal. But we can't get ahead of ourselves. We're on a tight schedule here. And there's still so much more of Vexxna's domain to uncover, right?
You're right. Our work here isn't done. And what's a good dungeon crawl without a change of scenery?
That's true. That's true.
So far, we've seen alchemy labs, a quantum zoo, and a clockwork death trap.
We have.
But now prepare yourself, because we're entering Vexxna's garden.
Wait, hold on a second. A garden? This whole time I've been picturing, like, skulls and dungeons and all that spooky stuff.
Right.
But a garden.
Yeah.
What kind of garden does a lich even have?
But that's the beauty of Vexxna.
Yeah.
They weren't content with just conquering death. They wanted to twist life itself to their will.
Right.
And what better way to do that than with a garden?
Okay, you've officially creeped me out now.
Have I?
But I'm morbidly curious. What kind of horrors are we talking about here? Man-eating plants, poisonous flowers. Give me the dirt.
Let's start with something appropriately morbid, shall we? The first area we encounter is the spore crypts.
Okay.
Basically, ancient burial grounds overrun with glowing fungi and spectral figures. Think eerie, ethereal lights dancing among the tombstones.
Right.
And the faint scent of decay mingling with something almost sweet.
Okay, that's just wrong.
Is it?
But you know what they say? One man's trash is another lich's treasure.
Yeah, right.
So what's so special about these spore crypts?
What's fascinating here is the lore connection.
Okay.
The guide reveals that these spectral figures were once the caretakers of Vexxna's alchemical gardens.
Oh.
They weren't always these eerie apparitions, you see.
Yeah.
They were living, breathing people who dedicated their lives to cultivating these strange, potent plants.
So Vexxna, in their pursuit of power, experimented on their own people.
It seems so.
Talk about cold-hearted. That's some messed up stuff, even for a lich.
It does add a layer of tragedy to the whole thing, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess so.
These weren't random victims, but people who were likely loyal to Vexxna, who trusted them.
Right.
And now they're forever bound to this place, transformed into something other.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out now.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something a little less spectral. What's next on our botanical tour of doom?
Buckle up, because we're heading into the Gloomwood Grove.
Okay.
And trust me, this place is the stuff of nightmares.
Right.
Imagine being surrounded by these tall, gnarled trees, their branches dripping with a paralyzing toxin.
Wait, paralyzing toxin? Okay, that's a hard pass for me. I'll take my chances with the spectral librarians any day.
Really?
But surely there's got to be something good in there, right? Otherwise, why even mention it?
But that's the thing about danger, isn't it? It often goes hand in hand with reward.
Yes.
And in the case of the Gloomwood Grove, the reward is Vexxna's Heartwood Amulet.
Okay.
Hidden within a secret passage deep within the grove.
Vexxna's Heartwood Amulet.
Yeah.
Just the name sounds powerful.
It does, doesn't it?
What does this amulet do?
The guide doesn't go into detail.
Okay.
But it describes the amulet as pulsating with a dark primal energy.
Okay.
It's clearly a powerful artifact.
Right.
And the fact that Vexxna kept it hidden within the heart of their most dangerous creation suggests it was something they valued greatly.
Okay, so we've got creepy crypts, a poisonous forest, and a mysterious amulet.
We do.
What else is lurking in Vexxna's garden of unearthly delights?
Well, there is one more place worth mentioning, though we'll keep it brief. The overgrown archive. Imagine a library where the books are alive, their pages made of pulsating fungi, their words whispered on the wind.
Sentient fungus. That's a new one.
Is it?
Okay, I'm starting to think Vexxna wasn't just messing with life and death.
Right.
But with the very fabric of reality itself.
It's a possibility worth considering.
Right.
But for now, let's leave the overgrown archive unexplored.
Okay.
There is plenty more to uncover, and we don't want to spoil all the surprises just yet, do we?
You're right. Got to leave some mysteries for us to ponder.
Exactly.
But before we move on to the next section, I got to ask, what's the biggest takeaway from all this? Why should anyone care about a lich's taste in landscaping?
Because it tells us something about Vexxna's mindset, their ambition.
Okay.
This wasn't just about amassing power or cheating death. It was about control. The ability to manipulate life and death, to reshape the very world around them.
Right.
And that's a chilling thought indeed.
It is. Okay, so we've seen Vexxna's twisted take on a green thumb.
Right.
But I'm guessing a lich's lair isn't all killer plants and spooky vibes.
Yeah.
There's got to be some treasure in there somewhere.
Oh, you bet. And not just your typical piles of gold and gems.
Okay.
Although I'm sure Vexxna had plenty of those lying around.
Right.
We're talking about items with history, with purpose, with the potential to make or break an adventurer foolish enough to use them.
All right, now we're talking. So lay it on me.
Yeah.
What kind of loot did Vexxna leave behind for us to drool over?
Let's start with something that screams instant upgrade.
Okay.
The Ogre Strength Gauntlets.
Okay.
We're talking strength rivaling that of an ogre just from slipping these babies on.
Really?
Imagine the look on your party's barbarian when you casually pick up a boulder they've been struggling with.
Okay, I'll admit, that's pretty tempting.
Yeah.
But you know what they say? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right.
Any downsides to these gauntlets? Asking for a friend who might be prone to impulse purchases.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's what makes these artifacts so fascinating. The guide hints at a possible origin story.
Okay.
Perhaps crafted by a long-lost civilization.
Right.
Or maybe even a gift from a powerful entity with their own agenda.
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe those gauntlets come with a price tag you're not willing to pay.
Okay. Point taken.
Yeah.
Sometimes the greatest treasure is knowing when to walk away.
Right.
But let's be real. Curiosity usually wins.
It always does.
Right. What else have we got?
Remember that Gloomwood Grove we talked about earlier? That paralyzing toxin, those shifting branches?
Yeah.
Turns out the source of it all might be a single seed. The Gloomgrove seed. Imagine holding the power of that entire grove in the palm of your hand.
Ugh. You said palm, and now I'm picturing that slimy residue the guide mentioned.
That's right.
Seriously, what is it with liches and gross stuff?
I don't know.
But you're right. The power to create something like that, that's not something you find at your local farmer's market.
It's true.
So what can you do with it?
It makes you think about the possibilities, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Could you use the seed to create your own grove, control the toxin?
I mean, I guess so.
It's a dangerous game, for sure.
Right.
But the potential rewards could be huge. Just imagine the look on your enemies' faces when you unleash a wave of paralyzing vines.
Okay, I get it. Vexxna had a thing for power.
They did.
And they clearly weren't afraid to get their hands dirty, literally, in the pursuit of it.
Right.
But not all magical items are about brute force. Right. What about something a little more subtle?
Okay.
A little more, sneaky?
You're thinking like a true adventurer.
I try.
Well, in that case, you'll love this next item. The Cloak of the Wraith.
Okay.
We're talking classic invisibility here, with the added bonus of being able to phase through solid objects.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Invisibility, phasing. We're basically talking about becoming a ghost, right? Sign me up.
But are there any limitations to the cloak's powers? Can you just walk through anything?
Good question. Sadly, the guide is a little vague on the specifics.
It mentions the cloak allowing the wearer to merge with the ethereal plane, but it doesn't elaborate on what that actually means.
Ethereal plane. Okay, you've lost me there.
Right.
Care to elaborate for those of us who don't speak fluent wizard?
Think of it as a plane of existence that overlaps with our own, a realm of spirits and shadows.
Right.
It's a common concept in many fantasy settings,
Yeah.
and it often plays a role in magic related to teleportation, illusion, and even death itself.
Sure.
So it's possible that the cloak's phasing ability is tied to this ethereal plane, allowing the wearer to temporarily shift their existence to this other realm.
Okay, so invisibility, phasing, alternate dimensions.
Yeah.
This cloak is basically a one-way ticket to most wanted status. Right. I can see why Vexxna held on to this one.
Right.
But it makes you wonder, why would they ever let something this powerful out of their grasp?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Was it a strategic move? A trap?
Right.
Or maybe, just maybe, Vexxna wanted someone to find these items, to continue their legacy in some way.
Ooh, now that's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
What if these items aren't just treasures, but tools?
Right.
A way for Vexxna to influence the world even after death.
It's possible.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out again, but in a good way.
See, this is what makes the Vaults of Vexxna so compelling.
Right.
It's not just about fighting monsters and collecting loot.
Oh,
It's about uncovering the mysteries,
okay.
piecing together the clues, and unraveling the true nature of Vexna's legacy.
Right, you've convinced me.
Good.
This is way more than just your average dungeon crawl. But speaking of loot, we've only scratched the surface here, right? What other treasures are we looking at?
Well, let's just say Vexxna had a particular taste in artifacts.
Okay.
We're talking items that whisper to your darkest desires,
Okay.
offering power at a price you might not be willing to pay.
Ooh, now we're getting to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Hit me with your best shot. What kind of morally questionable goodies did Vexxna have stashed away?
Let's start with something simple yet sinister. The Cursed Raven Feather.
Okay.
This feather can petrify a target with a touch, but it also offers a glimpse into the future, at a cost.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of future seeing are we talking about here?
Right.
Visions, prophecies, or are we talking something a little more cryptic?
The guide describes it as veiled in foreboding and ambiguity, which, to be honest, sounds a lot like Vexna's style. Imagine receiving a prophecy, but instead of clear answers, you get cryptic riddles and unsettling images.
Talk about a mind game. But that's the thing with prophecies, isn't it?
Right.
Sometimes not knowing is better than wishing you hadn't asked.
Right.
But I'm guessing the feather isn't all doom and gloom.
Not exactly.
Great.
The guide also mentions the feather granting the ability to cast the augury spell once per day.
Augury. For those of us who don't speak wizard, what does that even mean?
Essentially, it allows you to divine the potential outcome of a specific course of action.
Okay.
Think of it like a magical fortune cookie,
Okay.
offering cryptic hints about the path ahead.
Right.
But remember, even with magic, the future is never set in stone.
Okay, so the feather gives you a glimpse into the future, but it's up to you to interpret the signs and choose your own path.
Exactly.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster, but hey, who am I to judge?
Right.
What else have we got?
Let's get a little more hands-on, shall we? Next up is the Bone Shard Dagger.
Okay.
Imagine a blade crafted from the bone shards of countless creatures, each shard whispering the lamentations of its former owner.
Okay, that's just creepy.
Yeah.
And honestly, kind of gross.
Yeah.
But you've piqued my curiosity.
Good.
What does this morbid little dagger do?
Oh, it's not just for show.
Okay.
This dagger can summon spectral allies to fight by your side.
Okay.
Each strike draining a portion of their life force to empower you and your ghostly companions.
Wait, hold on a second. Did you say draining their life force?
I did?
So it's like a vampire dagger.
In a way, yes. It's a dark reflection of the spectral sentinels we encountered earlier.
Right.
Bound to serve the wielder of the dagger.
Okay.
But remember those whispers we talked about? Imagine the cacophony of voices echoing in your mind as you wield this blade,
Right.
each soul clamoring for release.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a hard pass from me.
Understandable.
Some things are better left buried, you know. But speaking of things that are better left alone, what's the worst of the bunch? The item that screams temptation with a capital T.
Oh, that's easy.
Okay.
The Necrosoul Band.
What's that?
This ring promises immense power.
Okay.
But the price, let's just say it involves a slow descent into darkness, addiction, and a loss of control over your own soul.
Okay, that's just bad news all around.
It kind of is.
But it makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Vex'na was a lich, an undead being who achieved a twisted form of immortality.
Yes.
Was this ring part of their downfall? Did they become so obsessed with power that they lost themselves in the process?
It's a chilling thought, isn't it? And it's a reminder that power, no matter how tempting, always comes at a cost.
Right.
Sometimes the greatest treasure is simply the strength to resist temptation.
All right, you've officially creeped me out again, but I'm hooked.
Good.
This is what makes the Vaults of Vexxna so compelling.
Yeah.
It's not just about the monsters and the loot,
Right.
but the stories they tell,
Right.
the questions they raise, and the choices they force you to make.
Exactly.
But we still got a lot more ground to cover, right?
We do.
What else did Vex'na have hidden in their lair? Tell me there's more.
Oh, there's always more. But this next batch of items isn't for the faint of heart or the weak of stomach.
Okay.
We're about to delve into the artifacts that even Vex'na seemed to find unsettling.
Okay, now you've really got my attention.
Have I?
Hit me with your best shot. What kind of horrors are we talking about here?
Let's just say Vex'na had a way of twisting even the most mundane objects into something unsettling.
Okay.
Buckle up, because things are about to get strange.
All right, so we're talking about items even Vex'na found unsettling.
Let's just say they had a particular sense of style.
This lich clearly had a different definition of normal than the rest of us.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm almost afraid to ask, but what kind of twisted artifacts are we dealing with here?
Well, let's start with one that's both practical and creepy, the ghoulhound collar.
Okay, yeah, the guide's description was vivid.
It is something.
Dark metal, swirling engravings that seem to move, and that emblem in the center.
Oh, yeah.
A snarling ghoulhound head with glowing green eyes.
It's the details that get you, you know?
Seriously. It's
Yeah.
like they wanted even their utility items to have this unsettling vibe.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so what else is in Vex'na's creepy trinket box?
Remember those spore crypts we talked about?
Uh-huh.
Turns out there's more to those glowing fungi than we thought.
What do you mean?
The guide mentions a vial of grave moss said to grow in a hidden grove, feeding off the magic of forgotten battles and fallen heroes.
Okay, that went from 0 to 60 real quick.
It did.
We're talking about moss with a taste for magical carnage. That's surprisingly metal for something that grows on tombstones.
A little bit, yeah. And it's a perfect example of how even seemingly mundane items can have these hidden depths. Imagine you're the GM, right?
Yeah.
You could tie this moss to the Uzma we discussed earlier. Maybe it's drawn to the stuff or even use it to reproduce.
Right.
Suddenly, that vial of moss isn't just a spooky prop, it's a plot hook.
Okay, I'm seeing what you mean about Vex'na's style.
Right.
It's like they took everything creepy and unsettling and said, let's make this useful.
Exactly.
But you did say this next one was a bit different.
Ah, yes, the Stitcher's Needle.
Okay.
This one surprised me, I'll be honest. It's not inherently evil.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
I was picturing some gruesome tool for, like, stitching together abominations or something.
Oh, right.
Vex'na made something that's actually helpful.
It seems so.
So what's the deal with the needle?
Well, the guide emphasizes its healing abilities.
Yeah.
Mending wounds, even repairing rifts. In reality itself.
Hold on a second. Are we saying Vex'na, the lich who built a dungeon full of death traps and cursed items, was trying to achieve some kind of cosmic balance?
It's a compelling thought, isn't it? Maybe all that death and decay wasn't just about power,
Okay.
but about understanding the natural order, the ebb and flow of existence itself.
Or maybe you've just been staring at these notes too long.
That's also a possibility.
No, but I'm with you. It's like we've been so focused on the dungeon part of this deep dive that we forgot who built it.
Right.
This is Vex'na's legacy, their life's work.
Exactly.
There's got to be more to it than meets the eye.
And that's why these excerpts are so valuable, even if you never set foot in the Vaults of Vexxna yourself.
Right.
It's about understanding the mind of the creator.
Yeah.
The choices they made, the legacy they left behind.
Okay, you've officially blown my mind.
Good.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, what's the final takeaway? What's the one thing you want our listeners to remember about the Vaults of Vex'na?
Remember, this Vex'na was more than just a villain, more than just a lich.
Okay.
They were a scholar, an inventor, a manipulator of life and death. And these vaults, these artifacts, they're all pieces of a puzzle that we're only just beginning to understand.
So the real treasure wasn't the loot, but the journey itself, the quest to understand Vex'na.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe someday someone will uncover the final piece of that puzzle and unlock the true secrets of Vexna's legacy.
I hope so.
But until then, we explore, we speculate, and we prepare ourselves just in case we ever find ourselves face to face with the echoes of their power.
Well said. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the Vaults of Vexxna.
It is.
But remember, the journey doesn't end here.
That's true.
There's a whole world of lore and adventure out there, just waiting to be discovered, so keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep listening.